People don't understand art, and that's a problem. Let me explain. So people don't understand art, and that's a problem. So I know that's a bold claim, but it's sadly true. Stay to the end of this video and hear me out. This lack of understanding is more than a cultural issue. It's holding us back and killing us as a society. Let me explain why art is essential, how it transforms us, and how rediscovering it can change your life. What is art anyway? Well, this is an age-old question as far as I understand it. I think I have a fairly clear working definition that sufficiently and accurately satisfies this question for me, which I have formed in collaboration with other artists by hearing and discussing their views and approaches to art throughout my whole lifetime so far, as well as with my own thoughts on the subject as an artist myself. Okay, get to the point, I hear you. So here it is. Art is anything that alchemizes the human soul. Let me repeat that. This is my working definition of what is art. Art is anything that alchemizes the human soul. You might be asking yourself, what the heck could I possibly mean by that? Well, I can tell you what I mean. Art itself really isn't so much a physical thing. It really refers to the spiritual interaction and transformation that humans undergo when they are exposed to certain stimuli that induce a new state of awareness and or being, i.e., you may feel or think something either that you had never felt or thought before, or that you weren't thinking or feeling before you witnessed the stimuli. These stimuli, which we call art, awaken in you a new reality and a new awareness. So what are these stimuli that I am referring to? These stimuli may be the products that we traditionally call art, such as pieces of music, paintings, sculptures, and so on. However, it is important to remember and understand that anything can be art as long as it meets the essential criteria of alchemizing the human soul. Thereby, a whole gamut of things can potentially be art, even things not often traditionally considered to be art. This is why nowadays, the definition of what is art and what can be considered art is so broad. The possibilities are endless for different mediums to exist that can serve as the stimuli which alchemizes the human soul, thereby making it art. So we can consider tapestries and textiles, dancing, plays in theater, movies, photos, literature, architecture, plants, lived experiences, and so many other things as the product or vehicle that we call art, through which the human soul is alchemized. What is the purpose of art? Well, the purpose of art lies in its very definition. The purpose of art is literally to alchemize the human soul. Alchemy here refers to taking some sum of parts that existed in one state in a certain period of time that we call before, in a before time, and its miraculous transformation and change into something entirely new and different in what we call an after state, which cannot be explained by the sum of the parts that existed in the before state. This is the alchemy, the before and the after miraculous transformation. So this is what art does. It alchemizes the human soul miraculously into a new state. How this happens is open to a number of different perspectives and explanations. Personally, and this is my view here, and many other can be accepted and also contribute. Personally, I believe the alchemical transformation that occurs with art is possible due to the presence and existence of other levels of reality that exist beyond the physical, which some might call other dimensions, where energy and thought and spirits, and even God, exist in ways different from the physical reality that we know here on Earth. These other levels of reality are not truly separate from our physical plane, rather they intersect with it. With this intersection, they are able to be influenced and shaped by what happens here in the physical realm, and we are able to be shaped and influenced by what happens and exists in the non-physical realms that lie beyond. What is it that artists do, then? It is my personal belief that many artists naturally have a certain affinity to sense and perceive some of the levels of reality that exist beyond the physical realm in a way that is greater than most other people perceive those levels of reality. This perception seems to be an inherent aspect of people that have higher sensitivity and intuition. Please note that I'm not saying that this setup is more valuable than any other kind of setup and characteristics that human individuals have. Every kind of person has a different slice of pie to contribute to humanity. I am simply stating what I know to be the general setup that artists have. This setup and their ability to perceive further into the beyond is what allows artists to do what we do. Artists perceive and pull energy from the beyond, and we give it away to directly manifest into the physical plane through the creation of stimuli that can alchemize the human soul when humans witness it. We generally create some sort of stimuli that has the potential to act as this alchemical vehicle when these stimuli are witnessed. These stimuli that artists create are what are called our art pieces, or artworks. Artists create artworks in order to help humans perceive more of the universe. The purpose of this expanded perception is to inform, to transform, to inspire, and to guide us with information and energy that is essential to our human development. Unfortunately, the very energy from God and the universe meant to constantly uplift us, give us meaning, and guide us to furthering the development of ourselves and humanity often exists solely in the realms beyond the physical, where most humans cannot and do not usually access this guidance and wisdom. Here comes the artist. The artist attempts to create a conduit to open up the viewer's ability to perceive into the previously veiled realms beyond the physical, and even to perceive ignored aspects of life right here on Earth, giving the viewer access to previously inaccessible but vital information. The artist attempts to help humans strengthen and continue their development. The artist attempts to heal humanity and keep us moving forward in accordance with greater alignment and awareness of life and reality. Let me give you a few brief overviews and examples of the kind of themes and problems that artists address and attempt to heal for society. We have social injustice, we have mental health, climate change, various forms of inequity, reconnecting humanity to beauty, simple beauty, reconnecting humanity to God, the beyond, fostering peaceful energy, promoting self-awareness and self-reflection, spirituality, morality, philosophy, and so many other human issues. Here is a brief exercise I would like you all to do. Please follow it for me for the sake of the argument of this video and for your own self-development. Take a moment and ask yourself, the last time you witnessed a piece of art, did any of these themes or any other themes speak to you, and did you sense your perception about them shift in any way? If not, why do you think that is? And if it did, think about what that shift was and how you might describe it. That is essentially the way in which we can engage with art, and this is how we can allow art to work its alchemical magic on our beings. This is a good practice whenever we witness art. Let me briefly share some of my own powerful experiences where art has uplifted me and alchemized my own soul. I hope they demonstrate and inspire you to pursue this process in your own life as well. Here are some of my experiences. I remember encountering the violinist Hilary Hahn playing Bach's Chaconne from Bach's Violin Partita No. 2 in D minor on YouTube one night when I was a teenager in high school. This was the first time I had ever heard this piece, and I listened to the whole thing. And it was just simply so beautiful and honest that I remember crying silently with tears of longing as I lay in bed listening to it that night. During those teenage years, I had a difficult home life and a challenging high school experience, and I was quite depressed. I think because the Chaconne hits those sweet but melancholy and longing notes, as Bach was reportedly mourning the loss of his wife at the time when he wrote the piece, I was in a good place to really be open to the energy of that piece, and because of that, I was able to really feel it. I think it reminded me that even through the Chaconne reminded me that even through the pain, the struggle, and the suffering, that there's overwhelming beauty and peace to life and with God. Those places, the realms of beauty, of peace, of life, of God, they're not gone. They are not gone. Just because we experience darkness at times, we can get back to those places. For me, this piece brought a message of hope and a goal for me to find that energy again. That was in 2017. Another time that I recall being deeply moved was another experience of listening to Bach on YouTube, surprisingly enough. Bach has been incredibly influential on my self-development and artistic development, hence why my social medias are titled Bach Reimagined Wham, William Andrew McGrady, which is my name. It was the summer of 2021, and I was in college at that time studying my bachelor's degree, and I was in between semesters, and I had time because it was in the summer in between semesters, and I was alone for the first time. I don't remember how or why. Let me go back, actually, I missed something. So I was in between semesters in college, and I was living in another state, so I was living pretty much on the opposite end of the country. For the first time I had ever been by myself, just living by myself. And I don't remember how or why, but Bach's piano, Goldberg Variations, came up on YouTube on the TV while I was living there across the country. And I had never heard the Goldberg Variations before either, which is really, really surprising. I was really surprised by that since I've been a classical musician my entire life since I was a kid. I don't remember who was playing that first recording of the Goldberg Variations that I heard that day. But anyways, at that time, I was in a better place mentally in my life, and I was able to just dance in the living room with the beats and the rhythms of several of the Goldberg Variations that were playing on the TV. For the first time, I felt free to just dance and to experience the music with less fear of being criticized or shamed for those experiences. And it was a pivotal moment for me where I began to break free from some of the binds of childhood trauma, which were holding me back from being myself. Again, I had never heard music so fabulous or so deeply spiritual. That sparked an ongoing obsession in learning to play the Goldberg Variations on the piano myself, which has now already been taking place for 3.5 years. I expect it will continue for the rest of my life. There's so much to explore in those variations, and they are so enriching, so beautiful, so honest, so authentic, so connected to God, and incredibly uplifting. It has been, truly has been, my great pleasure to study this music and to give it new life centuries after it was written. Some of my first recordings of this music after I had begun learning it on the piano myself are right here on my YouTube channel. More will be coming soon. You can check out those recordings and practice your new art engagement skills here on my channel. Be sure to let me know what you think, feel, and how it changes your perspective. So now continuing with the core of the essay, I'm going to share some of my complaints and critiques of society. I would bet that most viewers, likely barring fellow artists and other art lovers, would find upon reflection, if they followed my previous exercise that I asked, they would find upon reflection that the last time they witnessed a piece of art, it did not speak to them or shift their perception at all, or only very minimally. Many may think to themselves about the art pieces they witnessed, that's weird, and I don't understand it, or that makes me uncomfortable. If that's where the engagement with the art and the exploration of the art and ourselves ends, which oftentimes I think is where the alchemical process dies for most viewers, then the art has not been engaged with successfully, and the purpose of its existence has gone unfulfilled. Some may be tempted to ignore art that provokes in them senses of weirdness or confusion to avoid the discomfort they find themselves experiencing when they witness those art pieces. I propose a different strategy and present to you a new challenge. If you find yourself experiencing discomfort after beginning to witness an art piece, give yourself just 2 minutes. You can literally set a timer on your phone, 2 minutes. Sit with your discomfort and sit with your confusion. I promise you, you won't die. See if you can take a moment to get quiet. Allow yourself to experience the discomfort and the confusion, whatever feelings you have come up, positive, negative, in between. And see if those feelings are trying to tell you something. Look a little deeper at the art piece while you give yourself time to engage with it this way. Try to notice if you feel any shifts in your feelings, in your thoughts, or even in your energy. I bet that if you allow yourself the space to be present and to be vulnerable with any thoughts and feelings that may come up, including those that are uncomfortable, you may find yourself transported to a new realm where you discover that you can tolerate some discomfort, and that by allowing your space to explore it while being guided by the art pieces, you will come to new places where you feel more whole, and see the world in a new light, with a new purpose and a new drive, and a new sense of your place and your purpose within the universe, and as part of our interconnected human web. So let me repeat the benefits that you may experience from this process, briefly summarized. You may find yourself transported to new realms. You may perceive old issues in a new light that you may find helpful. You may find that you have new ideas about what you want to do with your life, what is important to be done, what is healing, and you may find yourself feeling more peaceful and more whole, and you may feel yourself better oriented in our world with more meaning and more health. Society these days has either forgotten how to engage with art to achieve the alchemical transformation that engaging with art brings, or this information was never widely known in humanity at all, which is possible because education has evolved a lot through the centuries and millennium. Also, it's possible that the process of how to engage with art was never taught. I don't know which of these explanations or what combination of these explanations is true. But thereby, when the very people that art is meant to serve witness art and gain nothing from it, they continue on with their lives with less than complete understandings of the world and the universe. They take these incomplete understandings with them into the world, thinking that nothing is wrong, and unconsciously, without being aware, continue to exist in ways that cause human degradation and stagnation and harm to themselves and to others and to our world, because we're all connected. A telling sign that art is misunderstood and undervalued in our society is that so many artists struggle to receive any form of monetary compensation from their work. And I bet a lot of you right now scoffed at the idea of art even being considered work at all. Yes, I see you there. And yes, making art is work. It takes time and skill and effort and perception and energy, all to serve a vital role in society, contributing to our greater humanity. Yet, you may think it meaningless and frivolous, and refuse to engage with it or to support artists in any way because you don't think it has a purpose. You'll probably hear and read this right now and just continue on with your own jobs, inflating wealth and contributing to climate change, just to name a few out of balance modern work consequences, all while the planet dies, and even our own human brethren are starving on the streets without houses and homes, and somehow exist without compassion from the masses. So then, where is the problem if people don't understand art? If society continues on, as it largely is doing these days, depravity and spiritual degradation, which we can see all around us, just turn on the news, depravity and spiritual degradation will continue to reign, and we will destroy ourselves and the world. It's as simple and as terrifying as that. Now, more than ever, it is time to awaken perception so we can make some very serious life and world-altering changes so we can come back into alignment with God and heal our broken selves, mend it. And to heal our planet, which is also breaking. I also want to say that even as I critique you, who may be part of the system, that you are not without compassion. The love of God is given freely, and it is due to all. The love of God is given freely to all, and even as I myself am angry with you, I still hold empathy and love for you. It is due to my empathy that I am writing this and reading this to you now, hoping to call you back to health and awareness for your greater good, and for my greater good, and for the greater good of all of us. But isn't that the role of the artist in society anyway? And you thought that art was frivolous, meaningless, and impractical. No. On the contrary, it is just one of many forms of contribution that humans are capable of contributing to society, and that we need to contribute to it for the whole of our society. With the art contribution piece going so ignored these days, it has been easier for the depravity and spiritual degradation that we now see all around us to take hold in our hearts, in our society, and in our world. Our role as artists is to uplift humanity and to shine light where there is darkness. The alchemizing of the human soul through art balances out the other kinds of contributions that other types of work bring, like things where practicality and focus on the physical world are essential, like building homes, growing food. However, when these practical and physical things are taken to be the only things present and that exist, they fall out of balance and it leads to rot. Art brings meaning and clarifies what are greater principles. Here is one example that is a central theme in my own work right now. Since art brings meaning and clarifies greater principles, we will find that the earth is the most sacred of beautiful creations, and sense and rejoice in its wonder. Our heightened sensitivity, which we cultivate through art, will make us aware, too, if anything comes to threaten that sacred creation, because we will sense how it changes the essence of all of that beautiful energy for the worse. Then we will know that we must not destroy the earth with environmental pollution and climate change, as these things detract, degrade, and devalue our sacred, beautiful earth. And they're pulling all of our energy down. If we revere and rejoice in the sacredness of the earth and of the universe and existence in general, because this is magical, we will not allow such wonder to be destroyed or degraded. Art reminds you of these sacred values and instills awareness and reverence for existence and also of our problems, fostering inspiration and a desire to always work towards progression and towards healing. I want to pause here briefly to show you this art piece. This is a piece I made about this theme. This was the first in a series I'm working on right now, where this is just to help awaken the perception towards the beauty and the brilliance and the wonder and the sacredness of life, existence, and of our earth. So let me continue. Another related part of this problem is that people not understanding and valuing art leads to artists not receiving fair compensation for their work. We often work in silence, through despair, trying to help society wake up and to heal, only for our work to not achieve its purpose as people choose not to engage with it. We end up being supported monetarily only by our own funds, which can run out, and this process can become unsustainable. We do this work in part for us, and we also do it for you too. And this work is a necessary contribution to society, as are other kinds of necessary work that are also contributions to society, but our contribution, the art contribution, often doesn't get compensated monetarily, while yours, other kinds of contributions, do get compensated monetarily. This is unfair. In the silly society in which we have capitalism and we use money for now, it's only fair for our work to also be monetarily compensated too. If not, many artists may give up or may not be able to continue their work and contribution, and then this slice of the human contribution fades away even more, and the hope for healing fades even more, and our problems from the depravity and spiritual degradation worsen further. What then are you paying artists for? You are paying artists for our ability to sense and to perceive where we need to grow and heal. You are paying artists to do the meditation that your work and its associated lifestyle make largely impossible for you, where you are constantly going and going and going and don't have time hardly to breathe, and I deeply empathize with you here. You are paying us to do the breathing and the reflection for you, at least in part. We would also probably tell you that you still have a responsibility to begin doing some of the meditations too, and to slow down a bit and act more conscientiously about the things you do and how you engage with the world. But you can help yourself out and save yourself a lot of this work by letting artists do some of it for you, and can continue to reflect and meditate little by little on the alchemy in each piece, in each art piece, after you purchase it and it sits in your home and becomes part of your life. With a good piece of art that speaks to you in view in your living space, you may find yourself slowly engaging with that piece in ways you have never engaged with art before. You may then find yourself transforming in ways you never knew possible. Engaging and valuing art can become a new and a valuable lifestyle for you, where you can reap multiple rewards such as mindfulness, reflection, and spiritual alchemy. Now let me give you some next steps. Hopefully, I have convinced you that people not understanding art is a problem, and you now have a grasp on the consequences that brings. You also hopefully understand what art is and what it does, its role in society, and why it's important. Furthermore, I have hinted at ways in which you can begin learning to engage with art if that is something new to you. Finally, I have demonstrated why it's important and even beneficial for you to engage with art and to support artists and to pay them for their work. Now, let me continue with more next steps. Continue learning about and practicing how you engage with art. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable, remembering that no pain, no gain. You won't grow without some discomfort, unfortunately or fortunately. And by allowing yourself to be uncomfortable while still remaining engaged with an art piece, you allow that art piece to work its magic on your soul, and you will reap the rewards from that process, even if we cannot predict or know exactly what those rewards will be. Art and the realms beyond the physical are an unexplored and infinite landscape of potential. Isn't it exciting to go there and to grow with that influence? If you are still with me, thank you. Then let's also think about some of the great pieces of art from history, and maybe go take a look at them online or in person if you have access to any of them. Listen to Bach. Go see a Van Gogh painting. Read Shakespeare. And while you do this, think about how the definition of art that I have provided here fits all of those art forms. Most importantly, focus on engaging yourself actively with these works in the ways that I have described, and let yourself be open to them, and notice how your thoughts and feelings shift as you allow yourself this freedom to exist without any discomfort or any emotion, with any discomfort or any emotion that may come up. You can allow yourself to experience it and remain engaged with the art. You will come out on the other side as a changed person. Pass on these strategies with those you know and love. Continue seeking out and reflecting on the work of modern artists out there in the world in the same ways you have been learning yourself. For modern artists, make sure to give the artist feedback on what your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are as you engage with their work. This is very vital to help support them and their artwork, as it feeds the algorithms of social media platforms so more people can see and witness their work, and this leads to a better chance of them generating revenue. Buy an art piece that you can afford from an artist whose work really speaks to you and whose work made you grow or experience something new. Support the artist so the artistic contribution reintegrates itself into our society and heals our wounds. You can even check out some of my art right here on this channel. And you can check out my Instagram, which is also linked in the description, for more of my art there. These pieces are there. And you can practice your art engagement strategies there, here on YouTube as well as on Instagram, and on my other links as well. Art is the lifeline we need to heal ourselves and our world. Engage with it, support artists, and rediscover what it means to be human. This is your invitation to learn a new skill and to pick up a new lifestyle, and it may just very well change your life and the whole of humanity for the better. Start today, your soul will thank you.